Our internal world has 18 characteristics. 6 of these characteristics support us in valuing ourselves. 6 of them support us in finding joy in the journey, and 6 of them support us in being self-directed, acting on our own moral authority, doing the right thing for the right reasons. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if the characteristic is blue, then our internal thought processes are supporting that characteristic. If the characteristic is green, occasionally there's going to be a thought process that might be making a little noise and getting in the way. If it's orange and then red, frequently and consistently our thought processes are making a lot of noise and putting pressure on our ability to fully maximize that characteristic. Now, it's very common for our internal world to be a little more troubled than our external world. Our external world is a little bit like looking out a window into the world. Our internal world is a little bit more like looking into a mirror. Let's spend a few moments and get acquainted with some of these characteristics, particularly those that are usually the most challenged. Let's start with that first one right there, goal-oriented. Now, goal-oriented is the ability to set realistic goals and expectations and to ignite passion by the ideas and impressions and solutions to problems that are manifest when we're vividly visualizing. Well, as this thought process starts to turn green, and then orange, and then red, that thinking about thinking, that vivid visualization, is becoming increasingly intense and vivid. The risks, whatever we're thinking about, well, it's the same brain chemistry, brain circuitry is firing as if we were actually there. Now, if we've escaped into the future to a time when we're rich and what it's going to be like then, we have set ourselves up for discouragement. In today's world, where there are firestorms raging around us and life shows up differently, we've also set ourselves up for some frustration. Let's take a look up there at that measurement, grateful. Now, I often hear people say, well, I'm grateful. Well, this measurement isn't are we or are we not grateful. If this measurement's green or orange or even red, it's just saying there's some noise going on in our heads, some pressure being put on our ability to be grateful. You see, our mind sees things differently than reality is showing up. By now I thought I would be rich. By now I thought it would be easier. Can you feel that dialogue sometimes when life doesn't show up the way we want? It's not we can step back. We can become conscious. We can be grateful. But this is the underlying thought process that makes it difficult at times when reality shows up different than our visualization. Now, when this happens, several things can occur. Take a look at the first measurement, whole and complete, confident, valiant. These are directly self-esteem measurements, whole and complete. Can we see our own uniqueness and pricelessness? When life isn't turning out the way we would like it, we often turn inward and we start to question our own worth. In the worst case scenarios, we might even ask, gosh, does God even love me? With confident, that noise in our head that's keeping us from honoring our own abilities and accomplishments, well, that noise is starting to question whether or not we can even do it. And valiant, well, it's starting to question our place in the world. Where do we fit? We look over here and we go, well, goal-oriented has a vivid visualization. Just check and see, is yours grateful, green or orange or red? What's going on that's different than the way you wanted it to turn out? Is it impacting any of those self-esteem measurements? Whole and complete, confident, or valiant? Take a look now at effective. Now, I'm going to have you, when we get done with this video, have you double-click on effective. If it's green or orange or red, and listen to it. I won't try to repeat it. I had more fun recording this definition than all of the others. Just a lot of balls in the air. We are trying to create today what our mind has already seen. We can be busy, 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 like a chicken with its head cut off or a dog chasing its tail. and not really accomplishing that which is necessary to bring our dreams into fruition. Let's take a look at pragmatic. Pragmatic is a measurement. It's called a systemic thought. Now, a systemic thought isn't linear. It doesn't go tick, 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 tick like time. It wants to see everything in the future all at one time, everything immediately in front of us. And if your measurement is green and then maybe orange or even red, especially orange and red, it wants you to reflect on where you are versus where you want to be, and everything that needs to be done between here and there, and just be totally overwhelmed. It might be Monday, and you're exhausted about what needs to be done on Friday, or 2 months from now, or 6 months from now. This is a great one to step back from and have an appreciation for all the steps that are required. Let's take a look at one more. Deliberate. Now, deliberate's an interesting one. This is the ability to set proper boundaries. When this one starts to turn green and then orange is very common, and red, well, we start to believe that this is that dialogue that's going on, that stuff that's putting pressure on us to set boundaries. It believes that we need to sacrifice our time and our energy and even our well-being to somehow prove that we're okay and to serve people. The question, what happens to you when you don't have any time left to sharpen your own saw? Now, I said that was the last one. I do want to cover one more. Resolute. Resolute. This is the ability to be committed to an idea, to a plan. When this starts to turn green and then orange, then red, we might be questioning whether this is really where we want to be. Can be a relationship, can be a business. I just don't know. I'm totally committed, kind of vacillating, a little unsure. And then we might start questioning the value of what we in fact are doing. Would it serve you to find ways to quiet this noise? Because when noise is showing up like this, it robs you and everyone around you of your greatest gifts, all those areas that are blue and green and blue and green. We can't fully maximize them. When you have a moment, double-click on those measurements, especially the blue ones, and listen to the power in that characteristic. Listen to the others that I may not have mentioned. And when you're ready, click on the button below that says, "What's next?" And let me share with you the principles and practices and processes, time-tested, to assist you in either managing these thought processes more effectively or creating new habits of thinking.